Hello folks, this is Andy White down here at Bobby Ledbetter's Twin City in Fort Payne, Alabama. I want to invite everybody to come out to our new location. We're at 1411 Glen Boulevard, right where you turn to go on Airport Road. We've got plenty of inventory for you to choose from. I got cars, trucks, vans, sport utility vehicles of any make and model. Come down here and visit us. Let us see what we can do for you. If you got some slow credit, I've got some banks that'll take care of that. We've got great financing, got a great selection of cars. Y'all come down here and see us.
Don't take the first deal that comes along when you can do better at BobbyLedbetter.com and Twin City Used Car Sales, located at 1411 Glen Boulevard in South Fort Payne.
Hello, welcome to the Robbie Coker Show. I'm David Holt, and of course, this is our famed Robbie Coker in his casual attire.
That's right. It's going to rain today, so you got to stay dry between the Coliseum and the school today.
You know, there you go.
Smart.
I want to appreciate all the people who've been watching our show on Facebook, social media. The funny part I was telling you a little bit about last night, my daughter actually saw the share that I had. So she watched it last night in the same room with me, which is unusual. You know, that your teenage daughter's in the same room.
20 minutes with your daughter, that's eternity.
So she was laughing at it, and so if you get your teenage daughter to approve of something that you're doing, you're there.
I can't imagine teenage. I can't get my 6-year-old to approve of what I'm doing. So if you're
well, you got something to look forward to as yours get a little older. It's harder and harder to impress them.
If you're impressing your 19-year-old daughter, you're doing something right, no question.
Well, we've had a great time of basketball since we were on last.
Sure.
This last game that you played with North Sand Mountain, I'm telling you, it was a record-breaking night. That's the best way to say it, isn't it?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, no question. I mean, it's ironic. We talked about Splashville last week, and our guys really shot the basketball well this week. The North Sand Mountain game, it's easy to forget because the score ended up so disproportionate, but it was 30-20 at one time. You know, North Sand Mountain's very much improved, and then they're trying to play like we talked about the old North Sand Mountain way, fast up and down the floor, and with that, we play fast. You know, so
it's really kind of what you're into playing, and they're learning to get back in that routine.
No question. So it's one of those nights where the stars align, and we really got going, and then we shot it. I mean, I told somebody I think my mom could have made 2 threes in that game. I mean, you know, it was ridiculous. Once we got in that zone and got the feeling, you know, it seemed like it didn't matter who had the ball, it was going in.
Yeah.
Broke several state records. There's a couple that's probably the most impressive to me that probably nobody even knows is 10 guys on one team making a three-pointer in a single game is a state record, and then 16 guys on 2 teams. Is a state record. They had 6 guys make 8 threes, and then combined, both teams making 33 is a state record, and then us making 25 is a state record, and us taking 54 is a state record. So 5 state records were broken, but I really thought it was a game where it was just the flow of the game really fit our kids' skill set. Coach Hicks is trying to get his guys back right. You know, he kept pressing. He kept, you know, he was. I could tell he was using it as a teaching moment, you know, down the stretch.
Yeah.
He didn't try to, you know, slow the game down or anything. He kept pressing the tempo. He wanted to show his guys, and they want to get used to playing games in that tempo. So he kept pressing the tempo as well, and that's how you end up with that many points being scored and so many shots going through the basket.
Well, you know, those guys are athletic. They came to play. They're very competitive. They had a good fan base. We have a great fan base there supporting both teams. It's just a great night of rivalry, area play basketball, wouldn't you say?
No doubt. I had some of them guys back in the late 80s, early 90s come by after the game and say, I've seen that score before, but it was usually North Sam put 120 on us. So, everybody's used to North Sam Mountain scoring points, and Cole's getting those guys back right. I can see it in their mentality. I can see it in things they're doing, the way they carry themselves, and they're going to improve. They're still trying to figure it out. They're still relatively a young basketball team, and I know he was excited because you lose that game and you worry about how's my kids going to handle adversity, and then they win the next night against, on Friday night they beat a Sylvania team. So I know he used it as a teaching moment, and I know they're going to use it as a positive going forward as well.
Yeah, well, he grew up in the gym much like you did. I mean, he's been around basketball all his life, coached in several places, and I think he's probably glad to be back home.
No question. It's a great fit for them. It's a unique deal for them because you've got Coach Hicks' son Cole now as the basketball coach. Excuse me. And you've got Coach Kirby's son is the football coach. Coach Eddie Kirby and Glenn Hicks were hand in hand for so many years, and now their two boys are the coaches. So it's got to be a cool deal at North Sam Mountain. It's got a familiar feel. Them guys have won a bunch of games, and I know they're going to continue to do that and continue to grow that program.
Well, and we played another area swing, I think, as the way Heather puts it. This is our first leg of area play. And Friday night, you guys went up to Pisgah. What an electric environment up there.
I tell people it was like a throwback. It reminded me of some games in the late 80s, early 90s, that the gym was full early. It was hot. It was loud. Both sides got after it. The B team game was very competitive. The varsity girls game was another epic battle. I mean, I don't know how these girls teams can continue to do it. They've played 6 times in the last 12 months, and all 6 games have been just slugfest. Just another great basketball game. And then our game was extremely competitive as well. 2 communities that care about their basketball programs and support their kids, and the student sections were great. It was good to have that energy again. I know as administrators sometimes and as adults, we worry about crossing that line, but I didn't see anything across the line. I thought both student sections brought their A game. It was loud, it was abrasive, but it wasn't vulgar, it wasn't dirty. It was clean fun. One of the kids after the game from Pisgah said a couple words to me. That was very, very cool moment. Just a good high school basketball environment that unfortunately that we haven't been accustomed to lately. The last 10 years, high school athletics has kind of died a little bit, and it was good to have that back and have that electric buzz, and you had to get there early to get a seat. It was
that's
great.
what Heather and I did a show yesterday, and she was talking about when they got there, they could barely get the bus in the parking lot. There were so many people there. Our camera guy was saying that he had to search around for a place to park, so and look for a seat. That's the other thing.
No question. It was a great basketball environment. Like I said, it's just unfortunate that is not a norm anymore. That was a special deal. And we all know, we're going to play a bunch of times this year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if our girls played 5 more times, and I wouldn't be surprised if the boys had you look up and we played 4 or 5 times too. So 2 programs very familiar with each other. There's not a lot of tricks in on them games. It's a player makes plays, a game.
And those guys have been several times to watch us play over at the Coliseum, getting ready for this particular game on this past Friday night.
I think Coach Beard had some miscommunication on his schedule. He missed a couple games he thought he had, or somebody canceled. I don't know. He had some issues with his early schedule. They'd only played 1 game, so they had a lot of free time. That's when they were out traveling watching games. They just had something went wrong with their schedule early in the season. And I'm sure those guys, it's just their 2nd game, so they're going to get better as well. Highly competitive, they're athletic, play 5 guards as well. I describe them as Jackson County players. They're just all rangy. They can all dribble. They all can make 5 threes. They all can drive the basketball. They make hard shots. I tell my guys all the time, he's just a typical Jackson County basketball player. You can tell those guys are in the gym, and to some people it'd be an awkward game because they shoot shots and they play ways that they trap out that 2-3 zone. They do things that a lot of people don't see, but because we're so familiar with them, I kid our guys. I think when I give a scouting report, it sounds like I say the same thing about all of them. Shoots a three off the catch, can dribble with either hand, finishes at the rim. I mean, I say, finally, I just say, hey, he's a typical Jackson County basketball player.
Are you like these old-timey preachers that have this little slang they say all the time? Is that what you sound like when you're giving the report?
We're getting to that point. You know, I'm sure it's getting monotonous. These guys have been with us 4 years now, so there's only so many new words to describe a basketball player. So,
well, let me ask you this. We just had the Alabama High School Athletic Association came out with the new classifications in the area, and basically we've stayed the same. So what do you think about that?
First off, David's talking, you know, as a coach, you want to think game by game. Now you're talking about a year in advance, so I don't appreciate the question. No, it's a...
you can dock my pay. How's that sound?
Yeah, no question. I'll make sure we take that out. The new classification, it's always it's an awkward time because everybody automatically just starts talking about, you know, it's the buzz. Everybody starts talking, you know, I mean, we've still got basketball, baseball, softball. We've got all these seasons, you know, to be played this year, but everybody starts talking about the future. The biggest change for us is North Sand Mountain's going 2A, and we add Gerald into our area. So we lose a basketball power, but we bring another basketball power back, you know, into it. Yeah. We even it up. I guess now instead of being 2 and 2 Jackson DeKalb, it's going to be 3 DeKalb, 1 Jackson. It'll make travel a little worse for Pisgah, you know. But for us, it probably I don't know. It's probably a shorter drive to Gerald than it is to North Sand. Yeah. So that's really the only change in the basketball area, and we're going to miss North Sand Mountain and those guys, but. Like I said, we had a Geraldine program that traditionally has been really good, so there's not going to be a lot of change. We're all very familiar with each other because of the Sand Mountain tournament, because of the county tournament, and we played junior high against each other. We played BT, you know. So you're right. There's not going to be a lot of change for our area. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out, how the crossovers, you know, all that other stuff is to be determined later. You know, we may end up crossing with that North Salmon region to go to Jacksonville. So the puzzle's a little different this time. But if you remember when I got the job, this was the area, you know. So so we're just back to where we started back 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
Familiar territory.
Sure.
Well, let's talk about, we're still in the first leg of area play, and tonight, as we're recording, is on a Tuesday. We've got Sylvania coming to town.
Sylvania's coming to town, man. It's a rival game. Tyler Brooks, we talked about him last week. He's in his 3rd year. You know, those guys know what's expected, know how they're going to play. You know, a sense of familiarity. You know, it makes things easier. Yeah. You know, as it relates to how we're going to guard things, and just as a player, you know what's expected of you. You know, it makes it easier for a guy to perform. So they're getting better. They've only played 1 game because of the football run. They got beat last Friday night at North Sand while we were playing Pisgah. Score was a little misleading. They got behind real early. They got behind. I actually got some water instead of coffee. I can't fight it off today. But they got behind 18 or 20 early in the game. Cut that thing to 7 or 8 a couple of times. Just never could break down the barrier. North Sand Mountain ended up pushing it out to about 18 for the final, I think. But he's got a lot of young guys, a lot of guys that are basketball players, you know. Yeah. They're young, so they're not as athletic or strong maybe as they were last year with some of those guys, but they're also probably more skilled and more of a basketball player instead of an athlete, you know. Yeah. With young guys, there's going to be mistakes. You know, he's going to have to let them play through it. You know, we lived with that a couple of years ago. Yeah. Lots of highs, lots of lows, but they're going to get better as the season goes along as they get used to the speed of the game. You know, it's a grind on the varsity level every Tuesday, Friday. You know, those guys are going to be bigger than those, stronger than them sometimes. But they're going to get used to playing in those environments, get used to playing against that competition, and they're going to get better. Yeah.
Well, it's a big rivalry because the people at Sylvania are just up the road, and usually those are the people that are relatives you go to church with, you're at Thanksgiving holidays with.
No question.
So it's important to our Plainview kids because they want to beat their rival up the road, whether it's anybody in the county, well, just about any game they want to win. I mean, that's our competitive kids. They want to win.
And another thing about Sylvania is the last 2 years we've had some crazy games. You know, in the semi tournament 2 years ago went to overtime. Last year at their place it goes to overtime. You know Jeffrey Banks in the 3 from 25 feet to send it to overtime. You know, so we've had some crazy outcomes that we've been fortunate enough to come on the winning end. But they always play you tough. They rise to the occasion. You know, it's an important rival to them as well. And we look forward to a great basketball game tonight, a great crowd, and maybe we can throw a couple in. You know, I tell people all the time.
That is the goal,
I
right?
mean, at the end of the day, the way we play, if we throw it in, we're pretty good. If we don't, you know, we're not. So we're going to line them back up and try to throw a couple more in tonight.
Well, you know, if you don't shoot, it's not going in for sure.
That's true. You know, our guys certainly don't struggle with that part. They love to shoot it. So.
And I think you encourage them to do that, don't you?
No question. It fits his style. You know, if you'd have looked at the way we played our first 2 years with Cody and Dylan and Isaiah and Chase and Jared and who am I missing? I had 5, didn't I? It's crazy. I've got to know that.
You're getting the gray hair.
Who's the other senior?
Out of that crew?
Yeah, it was Cody at the point, Chase at the 2. Coop started that year. Jared come off the bench. Isaiah and Dylan. I guess I had 5 seniors. I guess I named them all. I love to name those kids because of what they did for us. But we were so slow and methodical and backed off and held the ball and you know, tried to score 45 points a game. And now we're trying to score 45 points a quarter, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've changed so much in our philosophy, and really it wasn't a change. It was what I wanted to get to. But with that group, you know, that was what we had to do to be successful.
That was not their mentality.
That was not their skill set. You know, they were big, strong, slow guys. You know, no offense to them guys. I think they know that. But so we had to make it a fist fight and slow it down and make every possession, you know, 20-second possession. You know, and with this group, we want to score in 8 seconds. You know, we want to force action. So it's amazing, I'm sure, for the people playing to realize how much our style of basketball has changed. You know, and I always wanted to get to playing fast, and I thought we could get there here because you know, if you look at playing through the years, we've always had about 8 or 10 good-looking, tough, blue-collar kids, about 6 foot. You know, so I always envisioned this being the way we played, but it's kind of came to fruition, and this group really excels in that style, in that tempo, and they've been doing it since they were young, and it's kind of carried over, and now we've got it where all of our guys are playing this way, and it's been very rewarding, and I think it's a fun style of basketball to come watch.
Well, I'm going to ask you this question. Well, I know the answer, so I'm going to lead you to this point. We're undefeated at this point.
Sure.
6-0?
I think 5, right?
5-0.
2 and 3.
Heather's played one more game than you.
Yeah,
All
that's
right, 5-0. And so where are we? Are we ranked at the state level?
We are. Maybe the worst question in the history of sports journalism. We are ranked. We are ranked, and it's, you know, I'm excited for our guys. You know, for our guys, we, you know, ranked #1 in the state. It's a very reward and honor for them. Their effort being recognized. You know.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of great basketball teams in 3A. 2 in particular comes to mind. It's not ranked. In Medfield and Hillcrest.
Wow.
Both teams are in the Final Four, and the reason is and I hope the ASWA doesn't get mad at me, but it's a hard system they have set up for rankings. First off, football's still going on, so all those riders are focusing on local teams that are in the semifinals and finals. It's a big deal. So a lot of them guys hadn't even seen any basketball games.
Right.
You have to be nominated to be even considered. So those guys got a lot going on, you know. Hillcrest Evergreen is in the finals.
Yeah.
You know, 3 or 4 of those guys play football as well. So they haven't even played a basketball game. You know, Midfield's obviously has done they're playing a ridiculous schedule, playing really great competition. They get looked over.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and we appreciate it, and I'm so glad for our guys because, like I said, anytime their effort, what they've committed to this program, they deserve all the accolades that they receive. So it's a big-time honor for those guys to be ranked #1 in the state, but we also know that if you took it to Hardee's and had about $1.25, you get a cup of coffee. You know, I mean, that's really what it's worth. Thankfully, the only playoffs that matter, said Alabama's in the playoffs on Sunday. You know, that's the only playoffs that matter. Not playoffs, the only rankings that matter.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna have an opportunity. You know, when every tournament starts, everybody's 0-0, so everybody's got an opportunity. And our guys felt slighted last year when we started off so well. You know, we beat a Hoover team, and you know we thought we were going to be ranked high, and the paper comes out we're not even ranked at all.
Yeah.
You know, same situation. So those rankings will get fixed. They'll be better as the season goes along. They'll be more accurate because those riders are, you know, they've got a hard job. They've got so much going on.
Yeah.
As games are, it's a small sample size still. As games are played, as more focus is put on basketball after football season, the rankings will become more and more relevant, maybe as how correct they are. But in reality, it's just a piece of paper.
Well, do you think that there's like a target for people we're playing now?
People say that, but how could Sylvania be any more fired up to play Plainview?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
That's
I
true.
just think, people talk about all the time about our social media. Are you putting a target on your back? All we're trying to do is make sure people are aware of when our games are, and to recognize our kids for their effort. That's all we're trying to do. Now, if we gave people a medium to voice their hate or to comment, sure.
Yeah.
But the reality is those people probably hate us already, or we're looking for a reason to be negative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
I do.
we're just, we're really focused on Plainview and what we can do to recognize our kids' efforts and try to rally our fan base and our community to be at the games.
Well, I've heard you say, and I sort of have the same philosophy. We're going to do what we do.
Sure.
Do the best we can do. And, when I was a Beta Club sponsor or tennis coach, we were ready to play. Win or lose, we're going to do our game, do the best we can do. We know what we can achieve. We're prepared. And you leave it out there on the court, leave it on the stage, wherever it may fall.
And
you're
as
there
a
to
coach
do
on the
your
other
part.
side, I would be offended if my kids got more fired up for something on social media.
Yeah.
I kept telling our guys, how can we not be fired up to go to Pisgah anyways? I mean, it's an area game. It's a neighborhood. It's another opportunity to play basketball. It's the biggest game of your life. It's the only one we're guaranteed. Why would we need something else? We play for the love of each other, for all the time and effort, the passion we have to chase these goals. Why would we need an external factor to fire us up? I was offended, if our guys are going to be more fired up for that game, because of whatever was going on social media, So I think a lot of times we get caught up and here we go, we're going to the Elko Saban rant, but the noise and the external factors, the rat poison.
The rat poison.
But he's right, The reason he says that and the reason a lot of coaches showed their teams them highlights is he's right. People get so caught up on the things that doesn't matter. We challenge our guys to play for the love of one another and for the passion we have to chase these goals. If you start playing on hate or on other things, I don't know how you keep your focus and then you start becoming, this game's bigger than that game, and how do you get ready to play every night? I just hope we avoid that, and I'm sure we don't every time. And once again, the guy, when I got into coaching at Jack State, told me, are you sure you want to put your livelihood on the consistent performance of 15 to 20-year-old kids?
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm a little crazy anyways, and there's no perfect formula.
Can we bring Melissa in for one of these shows one morning?
I would love for Melissa Coker to get behind the mic. She wants no part of the microphone now.
Okay.
So.
Well, let's talk about a few more games coming up later in the week. We go to Sacred Heart.
Great,
in Anniston.
They're in Anniston. Yeah, big week ahead. We got Sylvania tonight. On Thursday, you have Sacred Heart. Number one state in 1A, three-time state champion. Got a kid, Deontay Wood, at Simon, Alabama. They lost two really good players last year. Went on to play college basketball, but they've got as deep a team as he's ever had. Now, they miss those two kids. One's at Sanford, one's at Canisius. Both of those guys are playing minutes in Division I basketball games. But he's got more quality pieces this year. So they're really good. They played some unbelievable competition over Thanksgiving in Atlanta. I mean, he opened up at Mountain Brook. They've been in some real battles, some real games. Really, really athletic. Going to press you. Going to try to make it a hard physical game. It's going to be I've never been to their home gym, but everybody talks about their home gym. I mean, it's really small. It's I think it's got 4 or 5 rows in it, so it's going to be a very
a tight, packed,
packed environment. So it's going to be fun. On Saturday, we get to go to Jackson State and play the Channel 24 Challenge. Mickey Shedrick and those guys do a phenomenal job with that event. And we get a Talladega team that went to the Final Four last year. Lost a couple post players. They lost their size, but they're extremely athletic. They've got two guards that are probably first team All-State in 5A. Really, really good basketball team. Really athletic. A lot like us. A lot like tell people they're the 5A version of us. They're you look out there and they're going to play 8 or 9 guys, and they're all going to look the same, but they're going to get up and down that floor. Super
quick,
twitch, super athletic. shoot hard shots, shoot a lot of threes, drive the ball. I mean, really like I said, the 5A version of us. So going to be a fun week of basketball. You get Sylvania, Sacred Heart, and Talladega. If you can't get fired up for those three, you're not my kind of dude. So we're excited.
Well, I'm sure if anybody can fire your team up, it would be you.
People ask me all the time. I really don't have to fire my guys up. We don't spend a lot of time on firing up. They're pretty self-motivated. They've done a good job, I think, with the commitment and the effort they've put in. We put all the time in at the games. I mean, they're fired up for those games. They know it's an opportunity to go out there and play and perform, and they've done a really good job. Our approach has been really good. I hope I don't jinx us in this week, but just a good group of guys that really love competing. I told you last week I wish we get caught up a little bit more in the drills at practice, but when that thing's tipped up, they're ready to play, and they've never disappointed me on that. Even when they were young and we'd take them off places, they're a competitive group, and they're usually ready to go. When I get in there and talk, they know it's time. And I tell everybody we always lose the warm-up. I try to keep my eyes off the warm-up. As long as we're playing, I kind of let them do their deal in the warm-up. If you look down there, sometimes we look like we're going about 17%. So I try to keep my eyes off of the thing. I don't want to watch this warm-up.
So that's why you're standing and looking at the other team.
No question,
right?
no question. Talking their cut. I just want to get away. I don't want to see them guys, or I'll get mad and frustrated. So I tell them all the time, as long as they're ready to play.
Maybe that's what we need to be talking to Melissa about when you get mad and frustrated, how to get you diverted. Is that it?
I've learned how. Just don't pay attention. Become distracted.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
As long as we're ready to play, I've told them. I've threatened a couple times to take over the warm-up, but we don't win many warm-ups. We're not very impressive in warm-ups, but for some reason, when that ball's tipped, they're ready to go, and their competitive spirit takes over.
Let's remind them one more time. We got about a minute and a half. Let's talk about the fundraiser again.
The Second Amendment.
Amendment.
We're pro Second Amendment here at Plainview.
So how much are the tickets?
Tickets are $30 a piece, or 4 for $100. I told you, with holiday shopping, you have to take advantage of that deal. We've sold right over 950 tickets at this point. I wish I could go next week when they go over the list. Some really quality guns. Anyway, I know we've got a Browning shotgun. It's about $1,500. We got a 6-hour pistol that everybody's talking about. We got a couple of Glock pistols, some phenomenal rifles from Browning as well. A really, really good list of quality guns. And then we're going to give away 10 a day. 10 on the first day, 10 on the second day, 10, and you have a chance to win each gun. We're going to roll that thing and call your name and put you back in. So in theory, the same guy can win all 30 guns. If his name's Gary Coker, I know there's going to be a lot of questions. but
that is the First State Bank Shootout.
First State Bank Shootout, December 27th, 28th, 29th. I guess we need to talk it up some. Clock's running, but great basketball going to be held. Gadsden City, Decatur, Cordova, South Atlanta, Central of Clay, and us. So 6 really good basketball teams. It's going to be a high level of play, 3 games a night. It's going to be a great event. What else do you have going on after Christmas? I mean, you're going to be
you're broke, so just pay your $6 ticket to get $5 ticket. Hey, it's a bargain.
$5.
Come
3
watch
quality
some great
basketball games, no question.
Thanks for watching the Robbie Coker Show. We'll see you next time.
Building your dream home is one of the great joys in life. At First Southern State Bank, we know construction and mortgage financing, putting today's low rates to work for you. As you and your family move closer to the completion of your new home, we know that your home is where memories are made and families grow stronger year after year. At First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, Scott Kirk stands ready to tailor the right construction loans to meet your needs, along with our staff of experienced loan professionals. Drop by to share your dreams with us today in Rainsville. First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, all the bank you'll ever need.
Listen to some of Johnson's satisfied customers.
Everything exceeded our expectations. No one will ever work here other than Johnson. We give them an A+. The crew was awesome.
This is the 3rd company that installed a unit in my house and the 1st that did it right.
Don't you want to know what type of person is working at your home? All of our employees must pass a background check and are subject to random drug testing. We won't send anyone to your home that we wouldn't trust in ours.
Call Johnson Heating and Cooling today, Alabama's largest and most awarded TVA dealer.